Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for having me here. I just hope that what I have in my head will come out as it is. Anyway, during my childhood, I often had encounters with a lot of people, and notably in that group were my parish priests. Of course, that's why I'm my priest today. So, I used to join them, especially when they're going out to meet the sick, to administer the sacrament of the sick call to the sick, especially to give them the communion and also to anoint them. On one of such occasions, after such visits, I asked my parish priest, "Why didn't you give that man paracetamol?" It was like, "No, I didn't come with it." I said, "Okay, next time we are going, come with it so that after giving him the communion, you can as well give him paracetamol." He then told me, "It is not in my own jurisdiction to give him paracetamol. I can actually give him the spiritual aid. Someone else has it as a duty to give the medical aid." As a little boy, I never understood that. But I had it in my mind that, hey, I will be a priest and I'll also be a medical doctor. So many, elderly ones tried to dissuade me, but they couldn't. I still had that in my mind. Few years after, I got admitted into the seminary. After 18 years of study, I was ordained a priest. But then, my dream of becoming a medical doctor and also a Catholic priest was not completely met. I think I was given only 50% of them, and that is the Catholic priest. And then I found out that there was a little limitation in that dream. There was a weakness in that dream. And that brings me to the topic, our shared weakness. Our shared weakness. I believe as humans, we all have weaknesses as well as strengths. We all have weaknesses ranging from lack of self-belief, procrastination. All these things are weaknesses. We can even talk about cognitive dissonance, which is the tendency of holding two or more ideas at the same time, which can cause a psychological fatigue. Or we can actually say the tendency of seeking public validation before we can actually achieve our dream, which can always lead us towards leaning towards groupthink. All these things are shared weaknesses. But then, how do we navigate these shared weaknesses? And I said, the first stage of understanding the weaknesses of others as humans is to first of all understand and accept ours as various points of growth. I believe that weaknesses presuppose growth and development in our lives. If there are no weaknesses, there won't be areas to improve or develop. When you find within yourself that you have a lack, it will help you to dig deeper into yourself, to bring out that part of you that people will focus on, which is your strength, and forget about your weakness. I want to take you on a stroll into the lives of some odd individuals. Someone like Stephen Hawking. Stephen Hawking is one of the greatest minds in the world today. Stephen Hawking was diagnosed with a condition called ALS, which is amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, which can actually affect the nervous system and cause the muscle control almost, I think, impossible. So movement will become something so difficult. But it didn't stop Stephen Hawking from becoming one of the greatest minds in the world in the modern times. The second person is Mr. Nick Vujicic. He's an Australian-American evangelist who was born with a condition we can call tetraamelia, which led to phocomelia. In a simple term, he was born without limbs, had no hands, no legs. But no matter the religion you follow today, you would know and agree with me that this man is an inspiration to a lot of people who have decided to live a fulfilled life today, no matter the circumstance. The next on our list is our own Mr. Cobhams Asokwo. Of course, we know Cobhams to be a blind man. Initially, he started training as a lawyer, but then found his calling in music. He's one of the greatest songwriter, especially in Africa. A man that has had CNN produce a documentary on his life. He was born blind, but he never, like his heroes, Stevie Wonders and then Andrea Bocelli, he never allowed his condition to stop him. What about you? The weakness that you share today, are you going to resolve to self-pity, or are you going to rise like these individuals? In the life of the apostles of Jesus, when he made the choices of apostles, he is all-knowing, at least in the belief of the Christians. He knew all these individuals. He called them. He knew they were weak. Peter was impetuous. James and John were hot-tempered. Even Simon the Canaanite, he himself was a politician. Of course, some of you will say politician. Is it a negative stuff? Come to Nigeria, you understand. Then Judas Iscariot was a betrayer, a thief, and a greedy man. He knew about all these individuals. He knew about their weakness, but he still chose them. He didn't focus on strength. Why choosing? Why making a choice? Because if he had focused on the strength, he would have chosen philosophers, orators, Sadducees and Pharisees, those ones who had, prestige. No, but he chose majority, the fishermen. Because he believed you never had to acquire academic qualification for you to understand how people feel. You don't have to get a higher degree for you to understand when people need your consolation. And that is why he chose them and gave them a chance to grow into becoming the vessels of his mission. And that brings me to a next point of this particular talk, giving people a chance when we understand their weakness. Of course, in an interview, in the arena of an interview, you see candidates coming for an interview. Then one of them, someone confined in what? In a wheelchair. I know in this part of the world, some people would be like, hey, the chances of this person getting this job has been done what? Slashed into half. Here's just 50%. Of course, that is it. But most of us will not have that particular, idea of giving this person a chance since he has a visible weakness. Can't we allow him to show us what he can do? Let's take a look at the life of the 32nd President of the United States of America, President F.D. Roosevelt. He's a phenomenal personality. In 1921, he was affected by a paralytic disease that left him paralyzed and confined in a wheelchair, even before he contested for the gubernatorial election of New York. And still, he became the governor of New York in 1927. Still on a wheelchair, he vied for the position of the presidential election of United States of America in 1932. President Roosevelt defeated the incumbent president, President Herbert, in 1932 in a landslide to win that election. And in the history of America, this is the only president that have led the country for more than 2 terms. He died in 1945 while still doing his 4th tenure. Can you beat that? A crippled man on a wheelchair. What is very inspirational about the story? That the people, the electorate, gave him a chance. He was paralyzed, visibly, coming to campaigns on a wheelchair rolling. But then, they asked themselves, if he's paralyzed, are his ideas what? Paralyzed? Not at all. Let us give him a chance. And he was able to prove them right, to the extent of going on to the 4th time. Now, of course we know that in this country, or all over the world, the government is the principal agent of giving chances. They give chance through education, they give chance through security, creating an enabling environment for talents, businesses to strive. But I don't know if that is actually happening here. I can actually understand that giving of chances in this nation have been done by individuals. Of course, you see our own Hilda Bassi, who few weeks ago did her best to create a chance for herself. And she finally put her name, the name of her family, the name of this nation on the map of the world. Giving chances. Giving chances. So, like I said in the beginning, I know that the dream of becoming a medical doctor and a priest didn't get completed. I was doing so well to find somewhere I could actually fill that gap of not becoming a medical doctor. So I decided to create Hope in My Eyes. Hope in My Eyes is my brainchild and a very pet project anyway. It's a charity movement. It came to birth over 3 years ago during the pandemic. I started, how can I actually help the situation? Started soliciting for funds, got food items, went into the villages to take care of some families we knew that hadn't anything to eat. So after the pandemic, then we decided to do it twice in a year, Easter and Christmas. On one of those occasions, I met a woman I visited to give food. I saw that she was living in a very terrible situation. Her children abandoned her. She had 6 children, but they all abandoned her. I don't want to know the story, but I decided to make sure that this woman is comfortable. So I took some pictures, got to my friends, put the pictures up in my page on Facebook. People started donating, and we were able to build a house for this woman. And today, this is what we do, trying to find and understand how weak people are, giving them a chance by the actions we show them. The current project that we have as we talk is this little baby, Precious. Precious was a child that was abandoned in the bush, thrown away, supposedly, by her mother. She was left to die. So someone found her, and they brought this issue to my attention. I had to go to the hospital to see Precious. When I went to the hospital, it was so hard to behold that a mother could actually do this. So I decided to take up this project. I paid for rehabilitation in the hospital. They started. And when Precious spent for a few weeks in the hospital, she came back, we brought her back. But some things were still happening, like seizures. We decided to step up the treatment. We went to a neurological center here in Owerri. And after carrying out some tests, CT scan, brain scan, EEG, and the rest of them, we discovered that Precious had hydrocephalus and she needed urgent brain surgery. So I brought it also to my friends on Facebook, my community, my family. People started donating. They donated and were able, by the grace of God, to give Precious her first brain surgery. So she had this brain surgery a few weeks back, and as we speak, she's preparing for her second brain surgery. And we are doing this not because we have it all. We do not have it all. We're doing this to inspire others to do the little they can to make the world a better place. You call it 100 perspectives. I call it 100 humanity. The humanity in all of us, we can come together. The little you can do, the little I can do, we can actually make this world a better place. This was Precious some weeks back, and look at her now. So this is a story that I am here to share with you. My name is Fada Emmanuel Ehioma. Father Mentor, this is my perspective. Thank you.